Jay here from Stretford, Paddock, and this is it. It's the big one, Manchester United versus Crystal Palace in the Premier League. So I've brought out the big gun, as always, Mr. Joe Smith. Thanks for joining me. How are you, my friend?
Why are we playing everyone so quickly back-to-back these days?
It's a new rule.
We did it with Villa.
Yeah.
We basically played Palace, 2 out of 4 games.
Yep.
We've got Leeds back-to-back next week. We've got Barca back-to-back after that. It's a disgrace. It's an utter disgrace. But yeah, this is the big one. Payback time.
Yeah. Because let's have it right, they were very lucky to get a draw at Selhurst Park earlier on in the season, and they annoyed us by getting Casemiro booked. It was never a yellow, that barely touched him. But it's payback time. We're at Old Trafford, which Erik ten Hag said he wanted to make a fortress, and we're doing a pretty good job of that so far. Old Trafford has become a ground where we do have a very, very good record at. Post sort of, pretty much post Brighton, isn't it, really? I know we've obviously drawn games, but we look very strong. We're looking good at home. And the crowd as well. Like, listen, Manchester United fans get a lot of stick from a lot of quarters. The media love to demonise us. We get stick for protesting. We get stick for not protesting enough. We get stick for moaning about decisions. We get stick for not doing this, not doing that. Yeah, we get behind the team at Old Trafford. We back our players. We back our manager. And the players are obviously responding to that.
I've got 2 things to say. One, this show is brought to you by BetMate, and we'll get into that later on.
Well said.
And 2, I wish there was another word other than fortress.
Okay.
Because it's a bit of, I know Ten Hag says that, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it?
Yeah.
Turning something into a fort, like we're going to dig a moat around. I mean, it's already on a little island, isn't it? All we have to do is fill that little trench with water, and it literally will be a fortress.
Right.
Get some sort of, what's that thing? What's one of them?
Drawbridge.
Little drawbridge, little buttress and that, holding it all together.
Yeah.
But it's great. And it's weird that, it seems to be something that managers can do.
Yeah.
Where you can just, not just, the top level, obviously. Jose had that unbelievable record of, 9 years in a row where he didn't lose at home or something insane.
Wasn't it like Porto, Chelsea and Inter or something?
I think it was Porto, Chelsea, Inter and Real Madrid. And whatever it was unbelievable. 400 home games in a row or something without defeat.
That's insane.
It just seems to be something that you, there's something going on with football, and I was talking about this on the watch along last night, that I think the 2010s was the decade of the stat. Social media came in, everyone's buzzing with stats. Opta Joe, Statman Dave, this, that, it's the era of the stat, isn't it? Social media. Did you know this X, Y, and Z? XG predicted this, tackles per 90, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think the 2020s will be the year of the mentality, where we finally. We learn more about how confidence works, how mentality works, because at the minute, how is it possible that consistently throughout Europe and the world, football managers who don't even necessarily have to be of the top level can make it almost impossible to lose at their home ground? And that is a thing that can be done by managers of different styles, of different qualities in different countries, repeatedly, over and over again. It's weird. Klopp did it at Liverpool, didn't he? They won 55 games in a row at home.
Yeah.
But no.
And then lost 6 in a row.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't understand it, and I want to know more. And we need more psychologists and more. People like that in football, where I want to know how it's possible that Ten Hag can come in and just say, I want to make it a fortress, and then it is. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. I want to know the ins and outs of the human brain, of how confidence, mentality, and mindset can just do things. Because at the minute, there's no stat you can put on that. Man United have been expected fortresses isn't a stat at the moment. But one day it will be. But I absolutely love it. And it's such a fundamental basis for so many successful teams. So many of the great teams are so hard to beat at home. And United are slowly getting there. And I absolutely love it.
I love it. I do. And hopefully what we'll love at the weekend as well is Marcel Sabitzer playing at, I don't want to call it the fortress, the Old Trafford, I don't know, castle. Yeah?
Love that. Yeah. Sure.
Obviously, a deadline day signing from Bayern Munich.
The Stretford Stalingrad.
Yeah, I'll try and start a chant for that at the weekend. I'll let you know how I get on. You'll probably be able to tell by how many black eyes I have. I see the Stretford Stalingrad arising. I see. Yeah, there's enough for that. Sabitzer's come in. Talking of his stats, he looked very good. He looks like someone who's got a bit about him. He can tackle. He can score some spectacular goals. He knows how to pick out his teammates as well. Do you expect him to start? We'll get to your predicted 11 in a minute. And if so, do you think he could have a big impact?
I think he might start, and I'm being sort of optimistic in predicting that you'll see, obviously. Up to Joe Mystic.
Yeah.
That he will. I think it's possible. I do think he's a genuinely good player.
No, I agree.
He's only played, I think, 1,600 minutes or so, 1,000 minutes or so this season, sorry. Which is obviously the equivalent of about 11 games. But that's been spread across 24 appearances for Bayern. So he's doing a lot of bench work.
Yeah.
But he's playing. He's not like someone who's. It's not like Donny last season where he just isn't playing at all. He should be fit. He should be ready to go. He's playing for Bayern Munich as well, and Nagelsmann, who is a high-pressing, high-intensity type manager. So he will have the fitness in the legs to play. And I think this could be the perfect game for him. It's at home as well, so you'd again assume that maybe Palace will sit back a bit more than they did at Selhurst Park the other week. And I think he looks excellent. He's got great numbers in terms of his shots and his output in the final third. His defensive statistics as well as his tackles per game and all that are in the top sort of 10% of midfielders. So he's someone that is doing everything. I think next to Casemiro you could see a real good player. And then a couple of years ago he would be comfortably a first team sort of. He would have been thought as a first team signing for United. You could have bought him for 20 million in 2019 when Bayern did, and you'd be saying, bloody hell, this is the sort of player we've not had for a while. He could be great for United. It's just because it's a loan, the expectations drop down a bit, but I think he's a really good player.
No, I agree completely, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. I don't know loads about him, but from the stats and from the clips, and more importantly, from speaking to people who watch him, whose opinion that I trust, it seems like United have made a pretty good deal here, considering we had 12 hours, whatever it was, to make this happen. For when it became confirmed that Christian Eriksen was going to be out to April and that Scott McTominay's got a short-term injury. We needed someone in. There was a lot of players we were offered, according to Damesh Seth and a few other people from Sky. United were offered quite a few midfielders, but it was Marcel Sabitzer was the one that Erik ten Hag wanted. So it wasn't just a case of let's get anyone. This was a player that the manager knew, liked, and wanted. With all that being said, then let's talk about our predicted 11s.
Yes.
Joe, talk us through yours. I mean, we're kind of almost at this team with who's available picks itself. Not quite though. There's a couple of debatable ones. Just talk us through your team and why you've gone for it.
I think the front three. It was like the Avengers coming on last. Do you know when all the portals open and the Avengers come through? Yeah. In the last Avengers film. Yeah. When we saw Martial, Rashford, and Sancho. Them three on the touchline. It was like the portal was opening and we just had these like absolute giants coming on.
I love that.
It was great. And for the first time in ages, I think with Martial being injured before Weghorst got here, there was barely anything on the bench in terms of strikers. When Rashford usually is starting, again that takes another option off the bench. It felt like we had no one in those front line. And then to be starting with Anthony, Garnacho and Weghorst, which is a decent front three, to then have like
Martial, Sancho and Rashford enter the fray.
The lads on the touchline all coming on. It was great. So there's a few options up front. But I've gone with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lisandro and Shaw. I think that's our best available back five at the moment. And then Casemiro. And I've brought Sabitzer in because I think he does work well for this system and this opposition. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Fred again. But I would like to see Sabitzer, and I think Ten Hag will as well. Then I've sort of amalgamated three of the six players that we saw the other night. I've gone with Anthony because I don't think Sancho's ready to start a Premier League game just yet. Then Martial back in and Rashford up front. On the left as well. And I think obviously he's the same guy. I think Jay, we may have very similar teams today.
We have, and I think this is the first time we've both gone for the same team. We usually mix it up, but let's be true to ourselves. One player I do want to mention as well is Raphael Varane, because I think we all love Lisandro Martinez. We all talk about him all the time. We all talk about Luke Shaw becoming the greatest left-back ever. But I think we need to talk about Raphael Varane because I was extremely impressed with him again against Nottingham Forest. And as you just start watching a player and you just think there's something about him that, it almost goes under the radar, and you spend a bit of time watching him at the game or when you're watching at home when the camera's on him. It's a lot easier at the game, obviously, because you can choose who you're watching. And so everything he does is just class. So stats there, chances created 3 in 15 appearances, interceptions 9. Here's an interesting one. Clearances per 90, 5.1. That's the highest in the United squad. Blocks 11. I mean, it's just genuinely a class midfielder, a class defender, doing things right, creating chances, making clearances, making tackles. Do you know what I mean? It's just completely and utterly, almost flawless. Do you know what I mean? I know no defender is flawless, but he's as close as you're going to get to it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And again, it's one of them things where back to my sort of current obsession of mentality. Everyone around him looks more confident and settled when he's playing.
Yeah.
And then you put Martinez in there as well, who brings a similar thing. And all of a sudden you've got a back four that Wan-Bissaka, who is almost like, he's like the sort of canary in the coal mine for whether a team is nervous or not. Because he goes like that.
Yeah.
If he's next to Maguire and Lindelof, he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when he's next to them two, he's a competent, attacking, striding, dribbling
I thought he had a
fullback.
good game against Forest as well. And another thing as well, going back to the old idea of Old Trafford being a fortress, and I don't know, I know you've been at Old Trafford and you'll see this, but I don't know if it picks it up all the time on the telly.
Yeah.
But Varane gets the crowd going.
Yeah.
He's always doing this.
Yeah. Well,
In the middle of a game, not just at the end when you're winning, or as he does it when he walks off the pitch.
Yeah.
But you'll see him when he's standing. He's come on.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that has won everything.
Yeah.
He's won loads of Champions Leagues. He's won the World Cup.
Yeah.
He's been to another World Cup final. He's won La Liga. He's done a lot. Do you know what I mean? So this isn't someone you're going, what's this guy going on about? Why you look at yourself before you start worrying about it. He gets us all going. Everyone's like, yeah, man, let's have a bit of this. So personality and mentality wise, he's got it all.
Yeah.
Stats-wise, he's got it.
Yeah.
And he's got a trophy cabinet that's the envy of basically everyone in world football.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just different class in it. Palace. Disappointing at Selhurst Park because of Elise and his last-minute equaliser.
Yeah.
He's having an okay season. I think if you look at his stats, 2 goals in 9 appearances.
It annoys me this with Palace.
And, chances created 30, which is decent. Big chances 3.
Yeah.
Just someone to watch, obviously, because what he did last time. But it's not like anyone at Palace is amazingly standing out.
That's why it annoys me.
Yeah.
Because we drop points to them when they're just bang average.
Yeah.
Like, the 2 games in a row where, and fair enough, the Arsenal game, I think Arsenal probably deserved to win that game just based on the possession and the control of the game they had. But 2 games in a row where we lost it to worldies. And you just think, it feels like all the time at the minute United are conceding these world-class goals.
Yeah.
That free kick from him against United, literally.
You can't fault anyone for that.
Underside of the bar in the top corner.
Yeah, right.
It is impossible to save that. Saka the next week did not quite as good a goal, but cuts inside, 25 yards out, right in the bottom corner. I know that wasn't the final goal, but you know what I mean? These sorts of goals.
I get your point.
But I think I was looking at it from another angle. That's a brilliant sign for United because it means that the only or the main way oppositions have chances to score against you is these incredibly low percentage chances.
Yeah.
Like that free kick is, I think he scores 1 a season. So that's probably what, a 1 in 20, 1 in 50 chance for him.
Yeah.
Like it's a 2, 3, 4% chance. And if United are only conceding that type of goal, that means that we are only allowing that sort of chance, which is brilliant. And that means that over a season, yes, you're going to lose to some absolute worldies, but typically you'll pick up a lot more points because they're not having the 20, 30, 40% chances. They're having 2, 3, 4% chances, which makes you a good team. If that's what you're limiting the opposition to, then you're doing really well. So it was frustrating last time, and he's a decent player. But I think it's a good sign for United that we're conceding and dropping points to stuff like 30-yard free kicks because they didn't have anything else really.
No, they didn't. I've put him in my BetMate team. Tell us a little bit about BetMate, the fantasy football app who was sponsoring this preview.
Yeah, so it's a fantasy football app, but not the way you know it.
No.
Yeah? You pick a team of 7 players.
Yep.
And you get points for proper things. Not just, did he score, did he assist? Defensive midfielders, tackles, interceptions are taken into account. It's all powered by Opta, so the stats are proper and it updates in real time. So you can pick people who would normally not be fantasy football stars, someone like Casemiro, someone like Martinez.
Yep.
Where the passing, the tackling, everything comes into it. And sometimes I've won games and I won the big jackpot.
Yeah, we know you did. You won the big jackpot that you've not shut up about. Also, McCall won a load of money the other day.
Yeah,
he
won the jackpot the other day.
So I'm sort of lagging behind it and I'm fuming.
Yeah, well, you need to
don't worry. I have won some money, by the way, and I'm coming for you. Don't you worry about that. We've got a bit of they're doing a freebie February, aren't they, this month? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so if you if you join BetMate, there is a free pot alongside the paid pots. So for this one, if you use the code SPADD, that is SPADD, SPADD, you can join the free pot. So join and you just get in for free.
Right.
Yeah, come up against me, come up against Jay, and you can join in there. We've also got our code Paddock10, which means you get a £10 free bet with any entry to a paid pot. So join and get a £10 free bet. It's perfect. So that's Paddock10 for the free bet and SPAD for the free pot. It's that simple over on BetMate.
Let's have a look at our teams then. We'll start off with yours. Go on then.
Easy. De Gea, Martinez, sure. Yeah?
Yeah.
Sabitzer, brought him in. Casemiro, vice-captain. Like I said, these defensive players can get good points, especially when he's chipping in with goals like he has been recently. And I think you'd be stupid not to put Rashford as captain. Let's have a look at yours.
Yeah, so you can see there, I've got De Gea, Varane, Shaw, obviously, after everything I said about Varane, I'm going to have him in. Luke Shaw's having a very good season. I've got Sabitzer in. We expect him to play. Yeah. Even if he doesn't start, he could still come on and do bits. Bruno Fernandes vice-captain. Rashford is captain, as you said. I put Olise in just in case, lightning does strike twice. I don't expect it to, but just cover my bets. Also, you can change this, your team, up to 5 minutes before kickoff. So when the team's announced, if you go, I've got, Marcus in and he's on the bench, then you can change it.
Yeah, and you can see at the top there, game closes Saturday at 2:55. So like up to 5 minutes before.
So that's a good one now. I was outside Old Trafford the other week doing it, trying to get my signal just in time. Right, with all that being said, you've gone through the opposition. We've gone through your predicted teams. Yeah. You've spoken about the atmosphere. Give us your score prediction.
It's got to be a win. I think we're too good for him. Unless there's any injuries we don't know about, a Casemiro, a Varane or a Rashford, I can't see why we wouldn't win this game. I think, payback in it. 2-0 United.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm going to go 3-0. I was tempted to go a bit bigger than that, but I'll go 3-0. I agree with everything you've said. I feel like with the players we've got at our disposal, we're flying. Old Trafford's looking good. Players are coming back into the team. Hopefully, I know we didn't pick him, but hopefully Sancho gets another little cameo. Sabitzer coming into the team as well. Yeah, I fancy us for this one. So I'll go 3-0. Get involved in the comments and the chat. Let us know what you think the score's going to be. Don't forget as well, get your phone out, right? Film yourself like that in landscape, giving us your score prediction and send it to paddockmatchday@gmail.com and we'll get you involved in the pre-match build-up to the watch-along, which will feature my good friend Joe Smith and a few others as well. So make sure you are liking, sharing and subscribing. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 and on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. Go and subscribe to that.
Make sure you do. Very, very funny podcast indeed. Don't forget as well to make sure you are subscribing to the channel and to check out BetMate. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the channel. Thanks to you, Joe.
Thank you.
I've been Jay Motty. Thanks for watching.